The Grand Prix of the Steiermark, the Styrian Grand Prix. Not as exciting a race as, say, Baku, but still interesting, and a win for Max Verstappen, and I'll tell you what I saw behind the scenes in 8 seconds' time. Well, as you know, Max Verstappen won the race, and the two Mercs came second and third, with Hamilton second, Bottas third, on an interesting day. It never panned out with the rain. It threatened it. Through the preceding days, we're getting 90% chance of rain, which would have spiced things up, but unfortunately, that never happened. I did the start from turn 3 on the outside of the track and managed to catch this series of pictures of Gasly and Giovinazzi coming together at the turn. In fact, there were a number of overtakes in the first probably 20 laps that I stayed around that particular corner, so it was interesting to shoot, but nothing spectacular. At some point I moved about 300 metres along that straight between turns 3 and 4 and shot the cars coming over a slight crest with beautiful dense forest in the background, and then ended up back at the last turn before I headed to Parc Fermé, where the result obviously was clear. Max Verstappen, an easy win in the end, and then I had to take off on a mad dash back to Vienna to catch a flight to Tirana in Albania, where I'm recording this in the bar on the ground level of this beautiful Maritime Plaza hotel. Why am I in Albania? You'll have to watch my travel video. That comes out on Tuesday night, the 29th of June, and you'll find out the reason there. Going to the podium, it was Helmut Marko's turn to get doused in champagne, and as soon as they picked up their bottles of champagne, Max was straight over to Helmut Marko and doused him, turning his white shirt almost translucent. And then if you're wondering what Max is holding his trophy up here at this angle for, that's because a number of photographers are situated on the roof. They get the prime spots, and these are only photographers shooting for the teams, and they get to shoot that angle exclusively. So a pretty stock standard race. So let's go back to the grid, and I'll tell you what I saw there. Lando and Carlos were positioned next to each other for the kneeling ceremony, and a great opportunity for them to have a chat. Perhaps they were teeing up a game of golf this week. It was suggested that Carlos might go and have a hit with the boys. Speaking of the kneeling ceremony, Valtteri was the first driver to head over there, and he had some time to kill, so he was doing some stretching exercises against the wall. Lewis had a new shirt on, and the text got my eye because it makes you think that you're seeing double. And Lewis was very deliberate too in stretching the shirt out and making sure that that message was visible. And thank you to Sarah Edinger, who was actually in the crowd and took a picture of me at the moment I took the shot of Lewis. So that's what she saw the moment I saw this. And for those of you wondering what the shirts say with all of the coloured text, this is it here. I thought this was one of my nicer pictures for the day of Carlos Sainz heading to the kneeling ceremony. I don't know whether he was looking to the sky for perhaps some guidance, perhaps for some help during the race, but he ended up finishing 6th, which was a pretty handy performance, and 1 spot ahead of his teammate Charles. The drivers' parades, well, they're back at every race that we have crowds, and it looks like we're going to have crowds at all races this year. And of course, coming up this week in Austria, we're expecting almost a full house because the crowd was a little bit sparse. I expected more this weekend, but really they only turned up for race day, and I'm guessing there were under 10,000, maybe 7 in the whole stadium, and not all stands were filled. Now I want to spend a little bit of time talking about the green carpet. Now normally this is out the front of the track, and there's thousands of spectators who line a walking route, and the drivers walk through that particular fenced off area. This was with virtual fans. So here we have these 4 screens, and there's about 20 people on each via the internet waiting for the drivers to come past and have a chat. The drivers who didn't come past, Lewis said no both days, Valtteri said no one day and did the second day, Kimi never showed up, Mazepin never showed up, Schumacher never showed up. You left out Vettel. But the 2 that engaged with it most fervently, and certainly most of them were very good, were Daniel Ricciardo and Fernando Alonso. Daniel was exceptional. He would spend at least 2 minutes per station talking to these fans, flexing, pumping his fists, high-fiving. It was just great to watch how much effort he put into that particular fan experience. I think there were about 20 people each lined up on those fan experiences, so there's 80-odd people that he could have engaged with. I don't think he got through all of them by any means. And then Fernando Alonso came along late on the Sunday and was mighty impressive. And he coughed up a lot of information that surprised me. He talked about different race strategies. He talked about the things that were of concern to him for the day. And I actually mentioned to him that he and Daniel were the 2 standouts when it came to interacting with those fans. Yuki Tsunoda and Max Verstappen simply walked down the green carpet and just stopped for maybe a second each and waved at whoever was looking at them on that monitor. But in fact, on Sunday, Yuki did that, and he was about to go into the paddock, but then he realised he had no pass. So he was stuck, and he had to get on to one of the photographers to go back in and get him a pass, which gave him an extra few minutes. So he actually went back and talked to some of those fans, which was great to see. The people on Station 3 on Sunday would have been pretty happy because they got not one Ferrari driver, but two talking to them via the internet. And it was funny too when there was no one walking the green carpet and just normal people, like photographers and team people walking up and down the entry into the swipes. They were shouting out if they recognised people, "Hi Mark, hi John," and the people would look around and realise that somebody on those screens had recognised them and chatted with them. And I thought it was a great idea and a great way to give some sort of fan engagement at a time when pretty much you can't get a driver's autograph. You can't get any access to the drivers. And I know a lot of people are contacting me and saying, "Where's the best place to get an autograph?" I just don't think you're going to get one at any track. If you ever return a rental car and just simply leave the keys in the key return chute, you must video the exterior of your car. And I had an incident in Figueres in Spain once where I left it in perfectly good nick, out in the open, dropped my keys back, didn't take a video, and they charged me 900 Australian dollars for some damage that I did not do. So always take a video of your car when you drop it back to a car rental company and there's no one there to sign off. Let's talk about Lewis's fashion. He is now the talking point. All 4 days of this race, he rolled up in amazing outfits. Now, amazing, you might think they're crazy, you might think they're great, but certainly they are colourful. Day 1 we've already seen. This was day 2. This was day 3, some sort of lace embroidery thing. And on day 4, perhaps, looks like silk, doesn't it? I couldn't find brands for either of the 3rd and 4th days. And Lewis normally enters the paddock about an hour before the first session on Fridays and Saturdays, and almost always there's a big throng of photographers waiting now to see what he is wearing. It's a great talking point. Is he getting paid to wear that kit? I don't know. I kind of think yes, because any manufacturer I think would see that being great value. What girlfriends did I see this race, I hear you cry? Well, I saw Sarah Pagliaroli on 2 days, that's Lance Stroll's girlfriend. Mick Schumacher's girlfriend, Justine Heisman, was at the track, and in fact I didn't see her, but I did see some pictures of her walking Mick's dogs on the Sunday morning at the track. Tiffany Cromwell arrived with Valtteri on the Sunday, walking hand in hand from the motorhome, which was about 150 metres from the swipe gates, and there also stayed Fernando Alonso, and he wasn't with Linda. Esteban Ocon stayed there. Both Haas drivers. Kimi Räikkönen drove in, but we never saw him the whole weekend because he went to the far swipe gates to do the shorter walk, so he avoided the media. Saturday was warm too at the track, and in FP1 I spent my time photographing mainly cars against that beautiful forest background where you can't actually see the fence on either side of the track. And on Saturday morning I headed out to the second last corner and shot the cars with the red and white in front and the red and white behind, and that is a really iconic shot at this track. Oh, and when I was shooting the cars with that forest behind, I happened to stand up at the precise moment that Nicholas Latifi started spinning, so I managed to get this series of shots as he spun across the grass and across the track eventually. No damage done. Also on the Friday I stayed out after FP1 to shoot the W Series cars, and I thought they looked fantastic. I particularly like this colour scheme. I thought it's just bright and funky. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get any shots of any of the drivers because of some restrictions on us and where the paddock was. But they're back there this week, and I'm hopeful of getting shots of the drivers. Ideally, I want them in their race kit, but I can't get to see them out of the car at any close range. Except the top 3 who would go to the podium and I'd have a chance. Sometimes you just have to be lucky too in photography. I was waiting for Lando to come out of the media interviews at one end of the pen, and I knew he'd walk past the swipe gate, so I can stand with a long lens. Here he comes, I start shooting him, and then I see a mate of his come the other way, goes to fist bump him and then whacks him on the bum. So that's just a fluke encounter, but by being in the right spot and knowing roughly when the driver's coming, you're always a chance. On the exit of turn 1, when you shoot the cars going away from you with a bright, colourful curbing, it was evident to me that the reflection of light off the curbs makes a big difference to a photo. If you look here, you'll see this shot is taken when the car is over the darker section of curb, and this one when it's over the white. See, the white reflects more light, and it's a better photo. And when you shoot at 14 frames a second, you know that you're going to get light, dark, and you can pick the best of those images. Now, before I go, can I get anybody a drink? What would you like? Red Label and a Bacardi for you. Okay, thank you. I'll sort that out for you. And before you go, please hit the like button if you've liked the video. Subscribe if you haven't done so. And yes, I will put up some new raw images for my members this week so that those of you photographically minded can go in and play around with those raw images. Thank you to those people who've bought Kim Illman merchandise from kimillman.com and also my F1 drivers books. They're featuring new images from season 21 as well. I'm delighted to say that there are still some NFT images for sale. It's a chance for you to own some of my best images in NFT format that allows you to buy and sell them much like a piece of artwork, and you go to OpenSea to find those. All of my images are available for download at prostarpics.com, and for my best images live from the track and all during the week, you know where to go, Instagram at Kim Illman. Thanks for watching and stay passionate. Yeah, I'm about halfway through editing now.
Oh, that's good. Did you include Nico in the video?
Oh shit, I caught Nico up at a building at the top of the track. He was broadcasting live, not allowed to go into the paddock. So with a long lens, I could actually get him out on the balcony and looking great, newlywed. Nice to see his face.